see you.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Emily.
Hey, so great to see you.
It'd be really fun if everybody puts in where they're zooming in from, because I know we have all sorts of places.
Azadeh, hi, it's Chris.
Hi,
I'm zooming in from Brooklyn. I'm so thrilled for you. And Marjorie's here somewhere too.
I'm so excited you guys are here.
We're excited to be here.
Kermit from New York.
Hi, Louis. Hi.
Louis!
Where's Kermit?
I
You're
see
not on
him.
the thing. We're still in Woodstock, New York.
I'm happy you're here, Louis.
Well, we're even more happy that to be here and to celebrate this tremendous accomplishment.
Thank you, Louis.
Hi,
Azadeh, it's John and Farzi from London.
How are you? How are you? So good to see you.
Hi, Azadeh.
Hi, so good to see you. Thank you all for coming. This is such a treat.
Hi, Azadeh. This is Bob and
Hi,
Sarah.
hi. How are you?
Well, fine, but delighted to be here.
Total delight to see you all. Oh wow, look, everyone's.
Hi, Bill.
Hello, Sabrina.
Hi, you guys. Woo!
Where's my drink, Kira?
I know, let me tell you, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Hey, Azadeh.
Hi, Azadeh. Congratulations.
Hi, Ozzy. Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, it's so
Hi,
fun.
Azadeh. Congratulations,
Hi,
Azadeh.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. So excited.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Joni.
Hi.
Hey, Joni.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, hi, Kira.
It's
Oh,
so
we have
funny.
people.
Oh, my goodness.
Worlds collide.
Words
Must be a
collide.
beautiful connection.
So everybody still feel free to pop on, say hi to Azadeh, hi to Julia, hi to everybody. We're just, a lot of people are joining, so I want to kind of sort of let them all in before we start. This is, I'm at the bookstore, Azadeh's at her place.
Hi, Marjorie.
Julia's
Hi,
in
Azadeh.
Hi, Azadeh.
Oh, those are my parents. Hi.
So good to see you, honey.
Hi there.
Hi, Kim. So good to see you.
So excited for you.
Hi, Azadeh. Congratulations.
Hi, Nina. Thank you.
Hi, Ozzy. So
Hi,
excited.
Daisy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I hope my internet's as stable, but it was
Yeah, it is very
good for now.
cool.
Keeps going in and out.
Congratulations, Azadeh.
Thank you, Nicole. Oh, so good to see you.
It's good to see you too. It's good to see you too.
Right. Well, I think we can probably start. So we're here today to celebrate the publication of Life Electric. So Azadeh, who many of you know, went to Harvard and then got an MFA at the Vermont College of Arts and has spent time illustrating books, but this is the first book that she's actually authored and told the story of. And then she was able to work with the wonderful Julia Sarda, who's coming to us from Barcelona, who also studied there and who has illustrated many other books of her own.
Before I start, I wanted to thank you, Kira, for hosting. It's such a treat, and I love that I have this wonderful independent bookstore so close, and couldn't have a better host. Julie, as I told you before, I'm such a fan of yours, and it was truly a dream come true for you to illustrate this book. So it really means the world to me, and that you accepted it. And Alyssa, who I don't believe is here, is my agent, but she'll be here later. But she really can't thank her enough for believing in this project and finding a home at Viking with Tamar, who is another dream situation, a dream editor. I love all the books that Tamar puts out, and she's here. So hopefully, if anyone has any questions, you can ask later. And just the whole Viking team, it was a total pleasure working with them. The Vermont College of Fine Arts, I have to address because it's such a wonderful community, and this project really wouldn't have come about without the support of my first two advisors, Mary Quattlebaum and Martha Brokenbrough, who really were instrumental in getting this project off the ground and to its present state. My three boys, who have heard too many Tesla fun facts and probably don't ever want to hear anything else about Tesla after this ever again. and Kermit, my husband, who is just been so supportive. He could tell that Mama wasn't happy not doing her own creative work, and was really supportive in helping me get back into what I've really always wanted to do since I was a little girl. And my parents, to whom the book is dedicated to, who've always been so incredibly supportive. And it's just a total coincidence is that I never imagined I'd write a book about an electrical engineer, but my father and my brother actually both are engineers, and I just think it's a little bit of kismet. So I think what I'll do is I'll read the first half of the book, just so you get a sense. Okay, so Life Electric. At the stroke of midnight on July 10th, 1856, thunder clapped, lightning flashed, and a baby boy was born. He'll be a child of the storm, his nurse said. No, his mother replied, a child of light. She did not know that her son Nikola would grow up to be both, one of the most important electrical inventors in the world then and now. Nikola grew up in a farmhouse in a village called Smiljan at the foot of a wooded hill next door to a barn and a small chapel where his father preached. He loved animals and never missed a day cradling and feeding his family's chickens, roosters, pigeons, and geese. He had many playmates, but his best friend was a cat, the magnificent Machak. When Nikola was 3, he stroked his cat and something remarkable happened. Machak's back was a sheet of light, and my hand produced a shower of sparks loud enough to be heard all over the place. Nikola had never seen anything like it. His mother said, "Stop playing with the cat, he might start a fire." His father said, "This is nothing but electricity, the same thing you see on the trees in a storm." He wondered, is nature a gigantic cat? If so, who strokes its back? From that moment on, Nikola could not stop thinking about electricity. Just like his mother, who sewed clothing by hand and built new tools to help with housework, Nikola had a gift for invention. He dreamt of flying like the pigeons and geese on his farm, so he jumped off the roof of his barn holding only an old umbrella. His bones didn't break, but he was bedbound for weeks. Before he was 6, Nikola had designed a metal hook for catching frogs, a pop gun that shattered windows and got him punished, and a rotating motor powered by the fast flapping wings of 16 June bugs. When he was 8, Nikola fell in love with books. He remembered everything he read and soon carried whole volumes in his head. His father feared he'd go blind and discouraged so much reading, but Nikola couldn't stop. While the family slept, he made his own candles, stuffed towels in the cracks of his bedroom door to hide the light, and worked his way through his father's library of books. In school, Nikola got high marks in literature, sciences, and math. His dream was to study electricity when he grew up, but his father expected him to follow in his footsteps and become a priest. When he was 17, Nikola contracted cholera, a serious disease that left him barely able to move. Everyone feared he was at death's door. Nikola's father promised him he could study anything he wanted, if only he got better. Nikola recovered quickly and soon enrolled in college to pursue his passion, electrical engineering. When he was 26, Nikola and a friend were strolling through a park and reciting poetry aloud when the solution to a scientific puzzle came to him like a flash of lightning. A puzzle he had thought about for years, a puzzle his university professor had said was impossible to solve. A detailed image appeared in Nikola's mind of a motor sending electric currents along a wire, forward then backward, like the endless Russian receding sweep of the ocean tide. Nikola had discovered a new way to transmit electricity over long distances, and he knew it was an invention that would soon power the world. Nikola could think of only one person who would understand the importance of his idea, so he set sail across the Atlantic from Europe to America. When he arrived in New York, his pockets held 4 pennies, some handwritten poems, notes for a flying machine invention, and a letter of introduction to Thomas Edison, the inventor of the first practical electric light bulb. The 2 men worked together briefly, but they disagreed about everything, especially about the future of electricity. Nikola had no choice but to leave and find a way to develop his electric motor on his own. After years with little success, Nikola partnered with George Westinghouse, a powerful businessman who invited him to present his invention at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. Together, the men and their workers toiled day and night building the electric motors that Nikola had once seen so clearly in his mind. On the fair's opening day, thousands of visitors from around the world gathered. The President of the United States pressed the gold telegraph button that set the fairground's electric machinery in motion. And for the first time in history, over 100,000 light bulbs lit up at once. The crowds cheered, trumpets blared, and flags unfurled. Nikola's city of light had changed the world forever. So I'm going to stop there, but I wanted it to just give you a sense of what an amazing person we're dealing with in terms of his contribution to our lives, and wanted to talk a little bit about just sort of the idea for the book and the angle. So the idea for the book came about in a roundabout way, in that the wooden doll you see there was the original Nikola in my life. I was on vacation in my 20s with my parents in Greece, and we went to a little thrift shop, and I never normally buy these kinds of things, but I was just really drawn to this wooden statue, and I brought him, and we decided to name him Nikola over dinner. I'd never known anyone by that name, and the only person we could think of with that name was Nikola Tesla, though I really actually sadly didn't really know much about him other than he was an amazing scientist. So I bought his book, My Inventions, which is a series of autobiographical essays about his childhood and life and accomplishments. And I just fell in love with the voice and the quirkiness and its eccentricity, and he just was super charming. So I decided to model this. I was writing a middle grade novel about this wooden statue, and I modeled the characteristics of Nikola Tesla onto him. And so that's where that relationship came from. And then when I was at BCFA getting my master's, my teacher, Mary Quattlebaum, suggested I think about doing a picture book biography and maybe something around animals or nature. So the first person who popped in my mind for whatever reason was Nikola Tesla, and I Googled Nikola Tesla and animals and came across all this like bonanza of fun stuff. Like I had no idea he's obsessed with pigeons, and he was in love with a pigeon. So the second half of the book is all about Nikola Tesla's deep devotion to the animal world, in particular pigeons. And so it's no exaggeration that he loved pigeons. In fact, so I knew I had a fun idea and that had a good kid angle. And Mary, my teacher, also thought so too. So this is apparently, I don't know if it's totally true, but this is said to be the pigeon that he was in love with. He was actually in love with a pigeon. And I quote, I'm just going to read you something that he said about this pigeon. "I love that pigeon. I loved her as a man loves a woman, and she loved me. When she was ill, I knew and understood. Oh, I knew and understood. She came to my room and I stayed beside her for days. I nursed her back to health. That pigeon was the joy of my life." Normally, I wouldn't take that seriously if I read something like that, but the more I researched, I realized he really loved this pigeon and just pigeons in general. In fact, Nikola Tesla is this incredible inventor, over 300 patents, and the only thing he'd ever trademarked in his life, and it was very late in his life, in 1938, was something called Nikola Tesla's Factor Octus, which is kind of pigeon food that he designed himself that would help them grow, or poultry food. I didn't come across this until after the book, I think, was in print, but I just love that this is the only thing he's trademarked. And I had always, in New York City, for those of you in New York, in the New York Public Library, Nikola Tesla basically had two great loves in his life, was electricity and pigeons. And I'd always seen this street sign on the corner of 40th and 6th Avenue and never thought much of it, but it turns out this is the corner where he would go every single day, twice a day, to feed his flock of pigeons that he would, there in St. Patrick's Cathedral. And it's also where his last office was, and it's also where the Society of Electrical Engineers have their office. So it's a very special corner. Again, as you can tell, he really loved the pigeons, is that he, even when he was 80 and no longer able to feed these pigeons, he went so far as to hire somebody to feed the pigeons for him. And I would love finding this postcard that his pigeon boy had sent him, asking about how the pigeons are doing. And then in terms of the pigeons in his life, he was particularly drawn to injured and ill pigeons, like if they had a growth on their beak or if their wings were broken. And he sometimes actually got himself into major trouble by going into places he wasn't supposed to go to catch these pigeons that were injured. And he would send them to a veterinarian named Raymond Garbett, who was the vet for the Association for the Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. And if he couldn't help fix their problems, then he would send it to them, which led Nikola Tesla to this person, who was the pigeoneer in the US Army. And this was during World War II, where they would use homing pigeons to send messages back and forth to top secret messages for the war effort. And he and Clifford Putra really developed a great relationship, talking about pigeon food and just, care of the pigeon, breeding of pigeons. And this is what Colonel Putra did. It's just remarkable. These were essentially the original wireless messengers. And I just think it's so interesting that his interest in pigeons was obviously like a love of childhood things, but also this deeply scientific thinking, as he was prone to do, of these creatures that would transmit messages wirelessly. And this is a telegram that he sent Colonel Putra, basically making sure that his pigeon was fine, because he had sent it to him to see how he was doing. And basically, I guess my goal with the book was really to make people understand that he wasn't just this kind of old, forgotten scientist, because in the last 3 decades of his life, essentially, he was forgotten, and no one really knew that he was this great scientist who had created the AC induction motor or remote control technology or radar technology or even fathered radio. They just thought of him like, oh, there's just this old man in the park. And he really foresaw so many things and was ahead of his time in so many ways. And I just want to share this with you, which is just a little snippet of Colonel Putra, who was the person who was his the World War II pigeon commander, because I think it'll really, we don't have any videos of Tesla talking, but I feel like this is the closest I'll get to getting a sense of just how much he loved these creatures.
Fine, my baby. Gee, you're a good looking bird. You are, a great pigeon. Now, they tried to call you a whole bunch of things over the years. The most disparaging is carrier. Now, who do they think a carrier is? You are Homer's, Homers. You're a great strain. You are birds by yourselves, and don't let anyone tell you different.
So really, that was sort of the heart of my angle for this book, was just, I was so deeply moved by this man's story and his sort of soulfulness and devotion to the living world and wanting to contribute to our lives. But what was particularly sad was, despite all his success and all that he gave, he had a very tragic life and always lived in hotels throughout his life and died alone in poverty and just was essentially forgotten. But 2,000 people came to his funeral, and the mayor of New York City read his radio eulogy, which really speaks to his accomplishments.
Were we to eliminate from our industrial world the result of Tesla's work, the wheels of industry would cease to turn, and our electric trains and cars would stop. Our towns would be dark, our mills and factories dead tonight. So far-reaching is his work that it has become the warp and woof of the industry. Should Tesla's work be suddenly withdrawn, darkness would prevail, and we would slump into darkness.
And last thing, and I'm done, is I think some people wonder like what happened after his great accomplishments, why he sort of ended his life in this way. And he was really just very ahead of his time. He wasn't the greatest businessman. He was really just a poet and a scientist, and I think had a hard time finding funding since he didn't have his own income because he gave away the rights to his induction motor patent. He didn't have the money to pursue his interests the way he wanted to see them through. And just an example is Guglielmo Marconi is who we think about when we think about who the father of radio is. But in fact, it was Tesla after he died, maybe a few months after the Supreme Court ruled that in fact radio technology was first discovered by Tesla, and Marconi had used 14 of Tesla's patents to develop his own radio technology. That's it for me. Take it away, Julia.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this presentation, Azadeh, and Kira as well. I'm very happy, and congratulations for your book published. I'm really happy that we are able to share this story today. I really fell in love with your story when I read that, because first of all, sorry for my English, because it's not really good, and here in Barcelona it's 11:30 and I'm quite tired, but I'll try to do my best. But the thing is that when I read that story, I felt that it was so sensitive, Azadeh's approach, in the way that it was relating the nature and childhood and all these delicate feelings of the inventor to the direction that he was choosing to explore, to give humanity the gift of his inventions. So I thought it was a super idealistic and democratic point of view, and that this deserved absolutely a picture book and the best work that we could do. And also all this arc of this narrative arc, starting from childhood and then going towards all his inventions and famous times, and then coming back to the loneliness and intimacy of the realness of his soul, and the true love of what he was doing, because he was believing in the love that was moving him. I think that this was what convinced me, and I thought that it was a special biographical book. So today I wanted to show you a little bit of inspiration that I took to that book, and then some sketches, but I will be very quick because I think that you all have a lot of questions, and that will be super interesting to share a dialogue. So I would love to start with the inspiration I got. You will see that now I'm going to share my screen, and it's only my also the intimacy of my computer and my folders of inspirations that I always gather before starting doing a project. In this case, it was super easy because there were a lot of beautiful images from Nikola's studies and all the patterns of his inventions that were absolutely static, and these I used as a aesthetic tool and also a technical reference for the book. And I choose to share that, to mix that with a lot of old patterns that I found from Serbian and Croatian quilts and clothes. And I thought it was interesting to bring together the technical things, technical resources with more organic and folk inspiration of his childhood. That was something that was moving him all over his career. Then I also have lots of inspiration from Eastern illustrators, old photographs from his studios and places where he was working, folk clothing, nature shapes mixed with light and electric shapes, more, of course, New York. And it was super beautiful to explore the exhibition and how the city changed with the lights, and how was the people of that time amazed by all this progress. And that would be most of it. I think all these documents were super interesting for me to start building the static universe that would dress the story of Azadeh. Here you have more of the patterns with the original stamps from Yugoslavia. And then this was the first, sorry, this is another project. This was the first set of sketches that I shared with Azadeh that didn't change so much, because I think that we were in a quite similar direction with her and the publishers and the designers. And you can see here the previous steps with only the line and some shades of gray. It was a very beautiful story to do. You can see here all these patterns that are building frames that give like a classic feel to the book. Also traditional and folk, but at the same time, the second part of the book is more related to the States and, well, New York and Chicago and the progress and all this career of development. But you can see that the drawings didn't change so much. Well, maybe I should stop here because it's the point where Azadeh stopped the reading, and maybe it's also interesting to not unveil the end of the book and not show too much. What do you think, Azadeh?
Oh, whatever you. I mean, actually, I would love to show it if you're okay with it, because I think it's such a part of his life. I would love for them to see the birds.
Okay. No, I'm happy with this. I just didn't want to mix. And like when I was drawing, it was very beautiful to start using the resource of light and lighting and all the shades and all the shadows. It was very challenging and fulfilling. And again, when we come back to when we when we reach the end of the book, when the narrative starts to slow down and he starts to be alone again and to come back to childhood memories and love and feel super connected with the love of animals and nature again, which is what electricity is about, then we come also back to the language of the kilts and patterns again. And we see him in the loneliness of the hotel room, but also happy and surrounded by the tenderness of the creatures that he helped and cured. And this is the last piece, but this was actually changed eventually, and we just skipped the frame to leave it more open and breathing, which I think it was a good idea. And nothing else. I think just that, sorry, I need to stop sharing. Nothing else. I just think that this is a beautiful story that also can give us a chance to rethink how we approach the progress, development, inventions, and which direction do we want to follow to keep evolving as human race and being part of nature, not against it. So nothing else. I hope you liked it.
Yeah, thank you both so much. So let's take some questions. I'll kind of sort of pull them from the chat, and let's keep them to like process and things like that, as opposed to like maybe individual like facts about Tesla or things. And I know that the one that I kind of sort of saw pop up first, and I apologize if there were others that I missed, was maybe a question a little bit for Julia, which is, once you do like the original sketches or things like that, like, do you switch over just to working on working digitally, or like what's your process like as you continue?
I always work digitally. In fact, the sketches are also digital. I have a Wacom Cintiq, which is like a screen where you can draw on it, and it has a super warm touch. So I just start sketches in Photoshop, in fact, and then I keep working on the same files when I get the approval of the publishers and the authors. So it's just a digital process. In fact, I hate my cat. And see, that's it.
All right, so another question then here. And Azadeh, do you want people just to ask your questions, or it's okay that I run them through like this?
Whatever you'd like, whatever you'd like.
So somebody was asking, oh, they're coming too fast. So somebody was asking, what kind of changed Azadeh with your story, like during the editing process, like were there pieces you left out? That's actually a question I always love to ask, that idea of like, was there something like, you know, that you had to cut that, you know, you might want to talk about? Or
I was given a lot of agency. That's why I really enjoyed working so much with Tamar. She very gently just put certain comments on the manuscript, saying, you know, maybe this can, just like a little drop of maybe just a little bit more here, and then I took it on myself to add to it. But there wasn't a ton of editing. It was more adding a little bit more meat to the author's note that I felt like I wanted to add, and also we just spell out more the part about George Westinghouse and the World's Fair. Just to originally I was imagining there's a book about Einstein that's very spare, and it's literally probably 200 words. So I was sort of envisioning something like that, and I'm not necessarily talking too much about his inventions and more his relationship to animals. But in the end, I think it's a nice balance where it includes both.
And did you, once you had the text and Julia had the text, did any of the text change at that point? Someone asked her, at that point, was it kind of sort of fixed and then you just moved forward with the pictures?
Oh yeah, that's for Julia. There wasn't much text change, was there? I feel, no, I can't remember, but Julia, I don't think we had much text change sent to you.
No, I think that the there were a lot of changes. I think that the only additions that that we agreed to do in the end were the endings, right? There's some
the words,
extra information in the end.
Oh yeah, we beefed up the author's note.
Hey, that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah. So people were remarking that you guys really seem to collaborate a lot more than sometimes an author and an illustrator. Like I know a lot of the times, unless an author's illustrated his or her own work or their own work, what happens is like the illustrator gets it and there's kind of sometimes no conversation at all. Did you either, how did the fact that you guys got to have such this rich working relationship or this back and forth, did that come about because of something special or?
We actually met, this is the first time we're meeting.
Right, but you definitely, it seemed like there was more, but you looked at sketches and talked, or no?
Oh, well, I know, the first email I sent to Julia was probably 3 weeks ago. Okay. But no, we had no contact. It was all through Tamar. And I don't know if Tamar is here, but I think she could really speak to that process, because I think it's just really interesting for people to learn how that works. Do you see her or Tamar, if you're comfortable?
If you
can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Tamar, and also I've had the pleasure of meeting Azadeh a few times for some nice lunches over the last couple of years, but this is the first time I'm getting to meet Julia, so it's lovely to see you and to meet you, because we've only had an email relationship.
Sure.
But yes, I mean, to answer the question, traditionally the author and illustrator never directly communicate, and it's the editor's job to be the liaison between the two of them. And so I always share sketches with authors and get their feedback, and then translate that feedback back to the illustrator and so forth. And our wonderful designer Opal, I think she's here somewhere too, and she and Julia worked so beautifully together on the design and layouts of this book, as you can see.
So some people were asking, how did you balance the writing with the research? Like, did you do all the research first? And also, did you have to have any of those sources translated? Someone wanted to know.
Oh, yes. So I usually, for this project, no, I didn't have anything translated, but a tangential project that, not for this one, but I usually do the research first, and unfortunately I get stuck in the research mode because I find it so fascinating. It's completely my happy place. And I tend to overdo everything, and in addition to research as well. So that goes first, and then my husband actually turned me on to this program. Let me see if it's called Flow State, which to the writers out there, I really recommend it. It's been really game changing for me. It's just like a little app you put on your computer, and you set it to 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15, or you can even go up to 3 hours. And basically, once you start typing, if you stop typing for more than 5 seconds, it just erases everything you've written. And so it's one of the few ways I've been able to actually get any writing done is set up Flow State, do 15-minute bunches, and it's like the least distracting thing I can do. So I highly recommend it. It's free. And so yeah, that tends to be I research, and then I do Flow State for 15 minutes, or little jumps of it, and then I cobble it together in that way.
Wow.
Right. So Liz has asked something that I feel like you guys talked to a little bit about, but not quite so specifically. So what surprised you, Azadeh, most about the illustrations when they arrived? And then after, Julia, what did you try to achieve in the illustrations that maybe was not in the text?
Wow, that's such an incredible question. What surprised me were, I think it surprised Tamar too, it was just the sketches were just incredible. I mean, they were so tight, and just like they arrived ready. They just did not feel in any way particularly they're just perfect. It was very minimal changes. I feel like it was more like historical things, a little tidbits, but it was stunning. I mean, she's such a talent, and really got complemented the story that I was trying to tell too.
And this is a very beautiful question. And I think that what I try to underline or at least portray as good as I can was the idea of the desired loneliness of the main character, because he was someone that spent lots of hours alone and died alone, and as a children used to play alone and make inventions. So I thought that this was something beautiful, and that somehow people sometimes tends to see it as a sad thing, but I think it's a gift and something special. And then when you are honest with yourself and you can enjoy yourself, time with yourself, you can create things, amazing things like writing books or making inventions. So I thought that portraying him lonely but not sad and happy and fulfilled was something that would have been fair to the character, even though I obviously don't know him, but I thought that it was something fair and that gives some more dignity to the character.
So Kevin asked a question before that I actually was holding, Kevin, so don't worry, but I'll ask it now. This idea of, are there any other designers, character designers that you admire or recommend any book in any language on the subject? Actually, I'm not totally sure. I'm not totally sure what that meant. So maybe it's asking maybe for the people who inspired you. Kevin, if you want to unmute yourself and clarify. I wanted them to talk more about themselves for a bit before we moved on to others, but
Oh yeah, sure. Can you hear me? Okay, so yeah, we're looking at the different pages in the book, especially the last page where you see all sorts of faces, different expressions. No one person's alike. So we want to ask about the character design process, how you design a character, give him or her their own personality. If anybody inspired you, or you can recommend any books on the subject, because we really liked what we saw from Julia.
Thank you. So when I do the character design, when I have to stick to reality and for the main character, it's always complicated, and I have to do a lot of research and try to make him mine, but at the same time keep my version realistic and relatable. But when I do the background people and all these thousands of faces on the funeral, it's something similar to what Azadeh was telling about of that program of writing quickly, that you cannot stop and you just connect to something automatic. And it's like if I try to do it quickly and steady, because it's the way that I just come up with old faces and physical facts that I have in my back memories, and somehow they come up like unconsciously. I don't take any reference for them. It's like a kind of like a surrealistic game to play.
Thank you. My wife and I really love your work. Thank you,
Thank
Julia.
you so much. Thank you.
So somebody asked if there were any like negative aspects to Tesla's character that you steered away from, like purposely. And then also that was Sue. And then Joanne was asking a little bit about your audience as you were writing, in terms of like age, like how much you were thinking about that. So let's tackle, do you want to tackle those two, and then we'll see where we're at?
Sure. So for the audience, I knew it would be the 5 to 10 age range. I know my own children actually don't read picture books. Picture book biographies, I have to force them on them. I think mostly they're for me. I love to read them. But I really was just thinking of the kid angle that somebody up to third or fourth grade would be interested in, should they want to learn more about the specific person. And then, what was the other question?
It was about, was there like negative stuff about him that you steered away from?
No, not necessarily negative. I mean, he was incredibly eccentric, and he, it wasn't negative. It was just stuff that I actually would have loved to have added, but it was just too much. But, he walked around buildings 3 times. He always had to live on the 33rd floor or third. It was always had to be in 3s. He would have piles of napkins when he's eating, and because he was, which is so ironic because he was this total germaphobe, but then yet he had pigeons flying in and out of his hotel room and kept on getting kicked out of hotels because it was too dirty, with the pigeons. But so I guess yeah, he was an interesting character. What can I say? But those were, I would say, that not necessarily negatives, but just other eccentricities.
Didn't make it in. And did you use a spreadsheet to keep track of things Rebecca wanted to know, or like did it just kind of?
No, I use Scrivener, and I that's sort of the mothership for each project. And so I have like a Tesla Scrivener. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Scrivener, but they're great for writing. And basically, any research, any newspaper articles, you just throws it in there with a link, and then you can just access it. And then I would organize folders like pigeons, Colonel Putra, pigeoneers, that kind of thing, and then was able to go that way. Images. So that's sort of my way of doing it, all digital. And then I print out stuff too.
Cool. All right, well, I want to say thank you so much to you both for joining us. Again, for anybody who joined us late, this idea of celebrating a book when we can't all be together, at least we can be together here and with people who probably would not have made it to Millbrook. So, or maybe even today.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? Because I totally forgot to thank the people who are here, because I have people from all walks of my life. I have my oldest friend from 3rd grade here, high school, middle school, college, my college roommate, my relatives. It's just so great. And I really, this is like the silver lining of the pandemic, to have everybody celebrate here together. And I really just couldn't be more thrilled to see you guys.
We're thrilled to have you. So anybody who ordered the book, Azadeh is going to come in. We're still actually waiting for some more even to come in. Azadeh is going to come in on Thursday to sign those. So they're all going to be popped in the mail, like let's say Thursday and Friday. So just be patient to get your copy. And if you haven't ordered a copy yet and you would like one that's personalized by Azadeh, that's something you can just do. Just go to the Merit Bookstore website, and in the note field when you're checking out, just add how you would like her to sign it, to you, or just say author's choice, which is, we've had a lot of people just say like, she'll know what to say to me. And so, we have plenty of copies for everybody, even if it says that we don't, there will be, so don't worry. And that's all that I want to say, but I'd like to just open it up as if, again, we were like in person, for people to kind of maybe unmute themselves carefully and interact with each other. I'm going to unspotlight you guys, so maybe we can kind of sort of see people on the screen, like a whole screen view, and then leave this on for like the next few minutes. Okay.
I'm a little uncomfortable on Zoom, so I feel awkward.
I'm always the one who's like, hello, hi over there. So, anybody who hasn't had a chance to say directly hi, just, unmute yourself and
I will pipe in because I was there when Azadeh received all of Julia's drawings, and I was there to witness her utter delight at them. So Julia, it was really good to meet you finally, and just know that was really so exciting for her to see her story come to life with your drawings.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
Sorry that there's like no drinks or.
Yeah. We all need a drink. Yeah.
Azadeh, I just want you to know that we're having a thunder and lightning storm at this very moment.
Oh, are you? That's incredible.
And I wonder if a new inventor is being born somewhere.
There's one born every minute, Emily. And I just want to say what it was like to work with Azadeh, and Mary probably can contribute some too. I workshop and as an advisee, And she's not lying when she says she gets lost in the research. I don't know that I've ever seen anyone so good at digging up incredible stuff, and then gets, there's the challenge of, okay, what to do with this. But she's really amazing and is going to, I know, make so many wonderful books for young readers.
I do want to ask what's next for both of you. I'm so excited to get to know more of your work.
I sure know that. Well, for me, I've been in a little bit of a pandemic vortex, but I do have one project with Tamar that I have not submitted a manuscript to her yet, but it'll be about an Iranian artist that I'm really excited about. And I'm also working on a middle grade novel based on a fictionalized account of somebody that I discovered through this research with Nikola Tesla.
And my next published book will be my first baby, like my first authored book as well. And I must say that I truly, I mean, it's been the most difficult thing I've ever done. So I'm super nervous to make my debut as well as an author. You will see it will be published in October, and I still haven't not done the promotion, but it's been such a big challenge. So I'm super nervous about it, and I hope it has a warm welcome.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be amazing. What's it about?
No, writing, it's so complicating. I mean, drawing, it's something that I can do and I feel comfortable with, but writing is like, I feel when I show it to people, I feel like walking naked on the street. It's so...
Yeah, it makes you vulnerable. Is it a picture book?
Yeah, it's a picture book. It's a fiction. It's about 3 sisters running away from home.
Love it.
And growing up and facing the strange.
Knowing your work, I'm sure it's going to be brilliant.
I don't know. I think I just overthought it all so much that I don't know what I've done.
Yeah. Hi, Azadeh. It's Mary Quattlebaum.
Hi, Mary.
I'm speaking from the void because my video is all scrambly, but it's just so exciting to be here and celebrate your book. And I know for both of you all, you probably can't keep up with the chat, but there are just so many congratulations, and Azadeh, just such a community that's come together to celebrate with you. So congratulations.
Thank you. No, I'm so thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. And really, I wasn't lying. It really, this project wouldn't have happened without Mary and Martha. So really, truly grateful to you both.
You had us at Pigeons.
Yeah, that's true. He had me at Pigeons too. Yeah. And also I see Alyssa, who's my wonderful agent. I'm so glad you took a chance on me, and I really just, she was very confident she could find a home for it quickly, and that was the case, and I just love working with you, so thank you.
Same here. Congratulations. I'm sorry I'm late to the party, but it was wonderful to hear you guys speak and to see so many people celebrating and supporting the book. And for the record, you had me at Pigeons too. And it's really, in fact, Azadeh even unearthed there was a National Pigeon Day this month. Is that right?
Yes, on Canada just, a province in Canada just officially announced National Pigeon Day on Nikola Tesla's birthday, which is July 13th. So it will be a holiday. And they've been trying to do that in the States as well, but I don't think it's become official.
We got to get on that.
No, I know.
Azadeh, this is Tamar. I just want to say you didn't have me at Pigeons because I am terrified of pigeons. So it's a testament to what beautiful writer you are that I could find a humanity and any kind of tender feelings for pigeons whatsoever.
I remember you told me that.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, this seems like maybe a good time to just say thank you, and let's give everybody, I think, a huge round of applause.
Thank you so much, everyone. I haven't seen the chats, but hopefully I can save it so that we can.
Okay, I think it will save. I know I'm recording this, so I hope I'll be able to post it on I'll post it on our YouTube channel. And I'm sorry if there were then more questions that we didn't see, but I don't think so. Thanks. But I will I'll try to upload this to YouTube like tomorrow morning. And if the chat is available, Azadeh, I might have it here. I'll send it to you.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you everybody so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Amazing work.
Thank you.